Hello everyone, this is Robert, and this is, well, what remains of Psychotic Break version 2. In this video I'm going to be talking about the hub motor and the changes that I'm going to be making to it for the next version of this robot so that I can make it so this weapon never stops spinning. So let's dive into that. So I'm finally dipping my toes back into combat robotics. I've been doing a lot of house stuff and other things that have been keeping me distracted, but it's time to rebuild Psychotic Break and get it working again. Psychotic Break had two main issues with it. The first was that it had this intermittent cutting out where the electronics would just kind of die and then it would come back. And I know exactly what that issue was. It was the wires were just kind of too brittle and they were breaking inside, and it was on the battery eliminator circuit which powers the radio. So I'm just going to go through and replace all of those with this high-strand silicone wire, which is extremely flexible and can withstand those kind of forces. So that's not a big deal. That's very easy. Not worth doing a video on. The second issue that I had was the hub motor dying. The hub motor died, I think, in 2 different fights, and that is a big problem. For a design like this, the hub motor should never, ever stop spinning. And what it comes down to is there's only a 1-inch gap between this bottom base plate and the top base plate, so I need to fit the whole hub motor, all the bearings, all the support in that 1-inch gap for various reasons. That means I'm using these dinky little tiny bearings, and they are not able to withstand the forces that this big hunk of metal can dish out. So we need to do something about that. So at this point you might be wondering why I don't just make the hub motor taller and then just make everything else larger to accommodate. Well, that is something that I like to call forced design constraints. Whenever I design a robot, I kind of figure out what the variables are going to be, and then I just kind of arbitrarily say, nope, it's going to be this, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. And the more variables I get rid of, the easier it is to see what that final design is. So with these videos, I kind of want to do something a little bit different and share my thinking in the design to kind of show you how I end up with the things I end up with. So at this moment in time, I'm not 100% married to the idea of sticking with that 1-inch, but I'm going to try and go down that path as long as I can before it gets complicated. And that's generally how I design bots, is I just kind of make a bunch of decisions early on, see how far I can go with them, and if they become problematic, then I change them, but that's of course going to have a cascade of other changes as well. So what I mean here is this is the main body of Psychotic Break. It's this kind of nice little self-contained module. If I make the hub motor larger, then that means that this whole thing needs to also be taller. My wheels need to be a little bit taller, and then that adds weight all around. I have these little standoffs that sit in these little hex spots right there. Those need to be a little bit longer. Maybe the fasteners need to be longer in some cases. The battery is also going to wobble around a little bit more, so I might need more foam padding, things like that. Every design change is going to cascade into other little design changes. So I'm trying to stick with this 1-inch size for right now, see if I can make it work, and if it doesn't, then I'll move on, make some changes, and then ultimately redesign the rest of the form factor of this. So this right here is the hub motor, and I'm not going to go into that many details. I have a whole video on the hub motor itself. But you can see there is a bearing on the top. There should be a bearing on the inside. I just don't have it on there. And then you see the motor on the bottom. So this is what gives me that 1-inch. I think it's a little over 1 inch, but that's what gives me that height. So I really don't have a lot of room to work with, as you see. So the first thing I thought of is how can I cheat a little bit? And the way that I can cheat is this bottom piece has 2 problems with it. One, it is vulnerable to being hit. This is what it looks like after I went up against Billy. You can see it got a little bit mangled. So having this exposed really offers me no benefit. I can make sure that this piece right here doesn't interfere with the frame in any way, but this piece really doesn't serve any purpose other than housing the wires, but I can figure that one out. So what I'm considering is taking the frame and then recessing this piece down inside the frame. As you can see, it's a little bit too large to do that cleanly, so what I am thinking about doing is completely removing this frame. As you can see, I did that on this piece, and now we just have this bare stator, and if I can have that hugging right against the frame, that actually gains me a few precious millimeters. So let me show you an example of what that looks like. So here is the weapon motor from Copperhead, or one of many weapon motors. And you can see it looks very similar. We've got this big aluminum piece on the back that is meant for the mounting. And then of course we have the stator here. So it is very similar. All we want to do is remove this piece, and then that leaves us with this. This is one of the motors that we actually use inside the robot, and it has this nice big chunky metal piece which is much smaller in diameter, and that allows us to mount this piece and have a much smaller form factor all around. So if I do something similar to that on Psychotic Break, all I need is a very similar piece to this guy. It's just kind of like a T-shaped thing. It actually goes all the way through the whole assembly of the stator, holds the motor in place. We would be doing something very similar, basically just a simplified version of this, and then that would allow this to mount much closer towards the frame, and I could even maybe recess the wires into this little channel. I have this little snap-in clip that holds them, so this whole thing could be recessed down in a little bit, and that will gain me several millimeters, which will allow for larger bearings. So if we look at the top of the hub motor, you can see that we have this shaft that runs through the whole assembly, and that is what holds it in place. If we remove that shaft, you can see that the top bearing sticks out quite a bit. And the reason it sticks out is because there's a little bit of a lip. There's a bearing on the underneath side, and this is about as low as it can physically go. You can't really see on the inside, but there's very little room. We can't recess it down anymore. This protrudes up a little bit, and then there is a bearing spacer that sits on top of that, and that is what allows the whole thing to spin. This is another point of wasted vertical space. I could easily pocket the underside of the carbon fiber, so instead of sitting on top, this could sit down in there another couple millimeters. So by my calculations, I can get about 5 millimeters on top and bottom. That will give me about 10 extra millimeters worth of play just by recessing some of these components inside the top and bottom frame. So it still allows me to have about an inch, I think it's like 25 millimeters or so between the top and bottom of the frame, but it allows me to have some of those unnecessary components recessed in the frame, making the whole hub motor taller. So the next thing we got to talk about are the bearings. So I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of talking about bearings, but generally bearings are either going to have an axial or radial load rating. A traditional ball bearing like this one, just a standard bearing like a skate bearing, whatever, is going to be specified for a radial load. That means that it is taking a load like that. That is a load radially to the center axis. Axial load is if we put it on a bearing like that and we hold that stator in place, that is a load applied in this direction. And if you watch the fight recap for Psychotic Break, you can see that the weapon is perfectly comfortable handling those radial loads. As this weapon spins around, I come into contact with the wall or hit other opponents, whatever it is, it can handle those radial loads just fine. But the second that I get into a a vertical spinning situation and the weapon now is forced upwards like that, that introduces this axial, or it's actually more of a combined load against this, and the inner race is wanted to separate or bend away from the outer race, and that creates a failure mode like this, where the bearing just kind of explodes. These bearings are not meant for that type of a load. There's a lot of different types of bearings out there, tapered roller bearings, angular contact bearings, things like that, that are meant to do these combined loads, both axial and radial. The problem is that they're much larger than what I can accommodate for here. So, all that being said, I just need to go with a much larger radial ball bearing. That is the really only option I have for right now. I could go with bushings and things, but I'm always kind of an anti-bushing kind of guy. So what I need to do is go with a larger bearing. The bearing is really dictated by the size of the balls inside. You can see on this one, this is the size of the little ball bearings that are inside. They have to fit inside this little cage. There's the cage, there's the cage, and then they have to sit inside the race. So even if this was a larger diameter, the balls in the cage and everything else would still be relatively the same size. That is limited by the width or the thickness of the bearing. This is the bearing that was originally inside these motors. I upgraded to something like that. Now I need to just upgrade to this. This is going to be the new size for the bearings, and with the extra increased height on the top and bottom, I can accommodate a much larger bearing that is going to have much larger balls, and this is going to be able to handle, hopefully, the radial axial loads that this weapon can put out. All right, in summary, what I'm going to be doing with the hub motor is removing the bottom frame mounting plate, making a custom mounting plate similar to something like this. That is going to be recessed down into the bottom. The top bearing is then going to be recessed into the top frame. The two of those things are combined are going to give me hopefully 5, maybe 10 millimeters worth of overall added height. That means I can switch away from these bearings and switch over to these bearings. These bearings are a lot heavier, and that means I'm going to have to find a lot of extra weight. Psychotic Break is very, very close to the weight limit as it stands, and so adding this extra weight is going to be very, very difficult. I've got a couple options there. I can either pocket into the weapon, maybe on this inside. I could even theoretically add a pocket so that the hub motor itself sits kind of more inside of it. That is one option. The other option is to just make the hub motor itself a lot leaner. There's a lot of excess features that probably don't need to exist here, so I can just make that a little bit lighter overall. But I think we're probably looking at maybe 30 grams or something like that, which is a relatively significant amount to just kind of find in a bot that is already like maybe 5 grams underweight total. So that will be the next thing that I got to figure out. The next step is to actually mock all this up. I'm probably going to make a partial frame because I don't really want to mess with the carbon fiber if I don't have to. Make a partial frame, make all these modifications in 3D printing, and just kind of see how everything fits and see how large of a bearing I can fit into this hub motor. So hopefully this gave you a better idea of my thought process and what I'm going to be doing next with Psychotic Break. As always, thanks for watching. Check me out in my next video and check out my Facebook page for any updates to my channel. See you then. Thanks for watching.